Now I know this seems really fast because I've only had this car for maybe 2 or 3 months, but by the time that you're seeing this video, I will have sold one of my favorite cars ever. But here's why, if you can, this is why you should buy one. For those that don't know, this is Klaus, my 2004 Mercedes-Benz E500 4MATIC wagon in pewter metallic. It's a very pretty color. I actually did not like it at first, the color, when I saw it in pictures, but I really have grown to love it, especially with these wheels. But I picked this thing up about 2 or 3 months ago in Kansas City, Missouri. I drove all the way there. I drove my 2001 QX4 all the way there from Maryland, and this thing all the way back. This by far has been one of my favorite cars that I've owned, and it pains me to sell it, but I'll talk about why I'm selling it later on in this video. It's going to be my first time selling a car on Cars and Bids, or any auction really, so I'm very interested to see what this thing will fetch. This generation of E-Class is known as the W211. This went from 2003 to 2009. Personally, the W211 is my favorite generation of E-Class out of, I think, all of them, because this mixes all the things we love about the classic 80s and 90s and even the 70s Mercedes, but this has all the modern creature comforts of a 21st century car. Interestingly enough, because of the Daimler-Chrysler merger from the 90s and 2000s, Chrysler and Dodge used parts from the W211 in the Chrysler 300 and the early Dodge Charger from the mid-2000s. It's very interesting. The switchgear feels the same, the shifters are the same, the transmissions are the same in some of them. It's weird. I sadly don't have the window sticker, but in terms of how feature heavy this particular wagon is, this one has the Harman Kardon audio, the GPS navigation system, the HID headlights. Some of them had halogen headlights, interestingly enough. This one also has roof rails, the Napa leather interior, the third row seat, 4MATIC, a bunch of options that really make this car a Bern car. So most of these that you'll see will be E320 wagons, E350 wagons, but most importantly, and this is why I got it, the E500 wagon, because where else and who else makes a V8 all-wheel drive station wagon? You tell me. The E500 features the beloved M113. Also, it's interesting where the hood latch is. It's actually in the grille if you're looking for it, but the M113 is a larger version of the M112, which is the 3.2-liter V6. But this one, because it's larger, is a 5-liter naturally aspirated V8. It's dual overhead cams, and it makes 302 horsepower and 339 pound-feet of torque, getting this thing to 60 miles an hour in just about 5.5 seconds. And this uses a buttery smooth 5-speed automatic transmission, and this one has Mercedes optional 4MATIC all-wheel drive system, which makes this thing one of the most planted cars I've ever driven in bad weather. Seriously. This powertrain is known to be pretty bulletproof in terms of Mercedes. Of course, parts will be a little bit more expensive, and I'll talk about that later, but I've not had to do too much. I've replaced all 16 spark plugs. I've even had to replace a fuel injector, but now this thing is running like new. It runs so well and so smooth. Even when it's misfiring, it runs smooth. Now with this car, I've not really cared about the gas mileage, but it's really not been that bad. 16 in the city and 21 on the highway. When I drove this thing back from Kansas City, the most I saw was about 21 or 22, and that was about doing 80. And in town, I get about 16 mpg, which for being a V8 all-wheel drive wagon and for how this thing drives, it's worth it. All 211 wagons will come with 17-inch alloy wheels, but not all of them will come with these. This happens to be one of my favorite options of this car, which really enhances the streamlined, elegant look of it. These are 17-inch wheels. They are OEM from Mercedes-Benz's catalog back in 2004. I have no idea how expensive an option they were back then, but I can't imagine. They're actual two-piece wheels as well, which is really cool. I love the design of multi-spoke wheels, so that's why this was like one of my dream spec 211 wagons. One of the other things, since I was getting a wagon, that I really wanted was a power tailgate, and this car did not disappoint me, and the power tailgate still works. This opens up to an enormous trunk. I've put so much stuff in here, furniture, my bike. This is a really practical vehicle, and I really use my wagon to its capabilities. The floor folds completely flat, and being 5'9" myself, I've been able to lay down completely flat back here as well. Honestly, one of the many reasons that I bought this car originally was due to the nostalgia factor. And one of the big things that played a role in the childhood nostalgia getting in this is the optional third row seat. I'm going to respect whoever buys this car, because you may be watching, ow, and take off my shoes. I'm 5'9", and I fit back here pretty comfortably, actually. Like, I have a decent amount of headroom. There's also two cup holders back here, which are, they're okay, but you have two cup holders. It is so hot today. I'm getting out of this thing. In the second row, things get even swankier. First of all, I love how wide these these rear doors open. I also want to show how the second row seat folds. First, you pull up the bottom seat. Usually I have to slide my driver's seat forward, and then there's a lever here, and then this is supposed to slide all the way flat, but like I said, I usually have to recline the driver's seat so I can get everything to fold flat, but it does fold flat. But we shall get in. Step-in height is very easy, of course, because it's a car. And let's close the door. Very nice bank vault-like thud. I actually don't sit in the back of this car that often. It's really nice back here. I'm 5'9", and I have great headroom, even with the sunroof, and legroom is pretty good as well. The driver's seat is in my position, of course, and there's map pockets on both backs of both seats. There's also rear climate control, and it's standard 4-zone climate control in the E500 sedan and also the wagon. It's really accommodating in the second row, and that's another one of the reasons that I bought it, because I like driving my friends around, and I like, having them be comfortable with their air vents and armrest with some storage and cup holders. Somewhere there's cup holders. There's not. There's a 12-volt power outlet and a little place to put coins or something, but I don't see cup holders. That is one problem that I run into. There's no cup holders, but if you do smoke, there's ashtrays, but this is not a car to smoke in either. I also like that there's air vents on the pillars as well, so you have multiple areas of cold air coming to you. I also like at night in this car, the rings around the dome lights and the map lights turn orange, and it reminds me of being in a really smooth and silky airplane. I'm so excited to get inside, because not only it's hot, but this thing is very comfortable. But as I close this door as well, a nice solid thunk, and this car is 19 years old and it still feels this solid. But we start it up. Very smooth. I quite like the interior of these W211s. It is such a nice place to be. It's really comforting and soothing being in this car. You first have all the real wood trim, which is very grippy, and it gives you a very commanding feeling as you drive this thing, and it's leather wrapped as well. I believe some W211s can get heated steering wheels. That's crazy for the time. There are buttons on the wheel as well. There's volume and Bluetooth controls on the right if you had the optional car phone. On the left side, those buttons control the little information display in the gauges. The gauges are very nice as well. I love the chrome rings around them. Very classy, but also very simple as well. There's a lot of configuration in the settings in the gauges of this car, which is something I like. One of the features that wowed me in this is the 3-person memory for not only the driver's seat, but the passenger seat as well. And of course, it adjusts with the steering wheel, which is power tilt and telescoping, and also the mirrors. Mine does not have the power folding mirrors, but that is an option that I wish I could find. Mine also doesn't have the smart key entry with the push button start, which would be on the shifter as well for the 5-speed automatic transmission. But like even putting the car in gear is such a smooth process as well. Of course, up front, dual zone climate control. The AC works so well in this car, which is something that I appreciate because a lot of the cars I've had in the past haven't had AC working at all. Underneath that is the command infotainment system. It works pretty well. I wanted to replace it with something that could handle Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, but I couldn't find anything that would retain the audio system and retain the sound of the Harman Kardon audio system. But the infotainment is decent. It has navigation built in. You could get Sirius XM in some of these as well, but there's not that much to it. Down below are the controls for the heated seats. Some of these could also get ventilated seats, as well as a dynamic seat package which had inflating bolsters and thigh support as well. But these standard seats are super comfortable as well. I love that there's 2 little storage cubbies in front of each seat as well. You can store pens or whatever you want in there. But yes, this one has the gray Napa leather interior. It is so soft and so nice, and it still has the Mercedes-Benz smell that I love. The E500 also comes standard with Airmatic air suspension, which we'll talk about that later, but it does work in this one, thankfully. You can raise and lower the car by the touch of a button and also adjust the stiffness, which actually does quite the difference on back roads. So there's a lot that I wanted to talk about. First of all, I've talked about in the last video how well these things drive. The ride is seriously like nothing else. It really rides like a cloud. These vehicles with Airmatic float along the road. They don't bounce over bumps. Nothing about them feels unrefined at all. They feel worth the money. But the issue with the Airmatic system, as wonderful as it is when it's working, when it breaks, as it's inevitable in a 19-year-old vehicle, it gets quite expensive. So I just had to replace a strut, and just one OEM strut if you're going through FCP Euro, which is one of the easiest ways to, find any part that you want, #NotSpawn. One Bilstein strut from them is $1,000. I've bought a car for $1,000, and that's a bit of a deterrent for me, but that's just because I'm 22 and I'm not making the big bucks. But aside from that, I'm mostly in comfort mode. Like, there are some times where I do go into Sport 1 and Sport 2 if I want a bit of a stiffer ride for less body roll. The steering in this has honestly the perfect amount of weight in it. It's not too light but not too heavy. It's very direct, and this thing tracks on the highway like it's on rails. It's very interesting. There's still a decent amount of road feel for being a luxury car like this, but I still feel isolated from the road, and it makes it feel very luxurious. But let's get on the power. It's great power, and the transmission shifts very smooth and very quickly. It's great, and it's so smooth. You really don't feel the speed that you're going at. Something else that's very impressive about these, I mean, there's nothing to dislike about the driving experience, but the super tight turning radius of these is something else fantastic. And the engine sounds good. It sounds really good. It's such a great, and it's so smooth. It's just such a calming environment. I really encourage everyone to at least drive one of these. I used to not think that much of them. I was like, oh, that's a nice car, but I never really appreciated them until now. And I'm very glad and very fortunate that I was able to buy this, even if it was for a short amount of time. All in all, my experience with this car has been more than exceptional because of its ride quality, how smooth the powertrain is, and just how beautiful and elegant this car looks and how it made me feel. So it does pain me to have to, I wouldn't say let this car go because I could keep it, but I don't want to keep dumping thousands of dollars into it. Again, thank you guys for experiencing this car with me, even though it was only one video. And I'm very excited for the next vehicle to replace Klaus. And you will definitely be one of the first to know about that one, but I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, peeps.